Hello, welcome to Customer Experience Dialogues. Today, we are delighted to have Giulia Ajello, Global Head of Client Strategy Innovation at M&G. Welcome, Giulia.
Hi, Cindy. Nice to see you.
It's an absolute pleasure. It's nice to finally connect. I notice you have a CCXP, which is quite rare. That's really, really impressive, Giulia.
Oh, thank you.
In your global role, you are responsible for translating insights and market trends into clients' propositions, identifying the best positioning for a successful delivery, and co-creating with your clients to ensure they fully understand and deliver against their needs and expectations. Giulia, what are some of the ways you collect data, get the insights, and then translate this into enhanced experiences to deliver on your brand promise?
Yes, Cindy. So as a business, I work in a long-term saving and investment business. As a business, we serve 28 markets, and we have relationship with many different audiences. So you have end investors, advisors, global banks, institutional clients, etc. This means that in the same way their needs are different. We are quite complex, as I said, and over the past 3 years, we have completely overhauled our insight strategy to ensure that we have timely and relevant understanding of the different audiences. So having targeted data and insights for each audience then allow us to drive strategic conversation with the business and elevate the role of insights. So we go from monitoring traditional data like awareness, consideration, marketing spend, and then we complement it through qualitative and in-depth research. Now, what's really important is that we don't just use primary research, but actually we engage with wider societies. So we will have ongoing engagement with NGOs, charities, activists, who all have a deep knowledge of their subject matter expertise and hold a more emotional relationship with client. For me, this is the key to be able to move us from a product-led conversation into an end-to-end strategic relationship. And also is the key to be able to elevate the insights from a tracking performance into actually being able to engage with the business at a more strategic level and shape strategic proposition, which talks about the emotion and the long-term relationship and not just the transaction and the immediate.
That's amazing, serving 28 countries to understand all the cultures. Giulia, with the ever-changing needs, expectations, and behaviors of clients, how often do you need to revisit and review your strategies?
So Cindy, trends, external analysis, outside in are all part and parcel of my day-to-day job. I feel very lucky to be able to look at the business always from a customer and outside in lens. Strategy are somewhat different though. So if I think about an overarching narrative, this is something that needs to be stable for at least 3 years to build momentum in the business and allow an organization to move toward the ambition and deliver against it. Having said that, economic conditions, perceptions, behavioral changes, they happen all the time. So listening to the sentiment and adjust specific strategies to react, to try and anticipate the market is an ongoing task. So it usually starts with signals, and in my view, it's about keeping a mind open to those signals and follow them through so that once they can be quantified and shaped into action, this is that there is something that can be done with it, and then the business can be engaged about it. The risk of unfiltered data not shaped into a story is that they lack credibility. And in a business as commercial as mine is in financial services, the risk of something like that is that unfiltered data, then they lack credibility and the strategy is perceived to be blue sky thinking. So I would say as an overarching narrative, I would expect that to be in place for a number of years to be able to move towards it. But as for the strategies that make that ambition, it's an ongoing pulse, and I would expect things to be tweaked or shaped differently every 6 months, year or so, depending on the audience. Again, if you're talking to a long-term relationship like an institutional client, it would take somewhat to change. If you're talking to an end investor, then the market changes so rapidly that you need to be able to react very, very swiftly on it.
I agree totally. As we know, empathy and human centricity are languages brands cannot afford to ignore. Can you share more around this and what you've learned from this?
Yeah. So funny fact, when I got my job at M&G, I remember someone telling me, why are you going to work on pension investment? That's so boring. And that's one of the misconceptions around financial services. The way I've always looked at it is that as a pension and investment company, we have a huge impact on people's life and on the world on itself. So for me, when I think about humanity and empathy, it all leads back to our role in society and on people's life. What do they need and expect from us? How do we help them achieve their goals? How do we break down the barriers? But because of that comment I mentioned at the beginning of my answer, I also know that no one is waiting for M&G to do that. People expect functional and transactional conversations. They expect the complexity of financial services and languages. So those relationships with society through universities, charities, and activists are key to be able to break down those barriers. So that's very much where I'm focusing my attention right now, and what I'm learning. Is the role of M&G not just as a product provider, but in terms of the engagement and the conversation that it can carry on and progress and deliver with wider public, and the role that as financial services we have at this point in time in the world.
Certainly, the role of empathy and human centricity is absolutely crucial and imperative. And our last but not least, in terms of innovation and technology, what excites you most of the near future? How do you see these changes impacting the future of customer experience?
So I don't know if it excites me more or scares me more, but I think actually the metaverse cannot be ignored. It's already not anymore about gaming, but about virtual experiences. So if you think about the football club recreating their stadium in the metaverse for fun, to be able to watch the games virtually, if you think about the fashion brand creating virtual shopping experiences among friends, or even the B2B environment, there is actually an accounting firm providing accounting services for businesses working in the metaverse. So I think these are just back to the signals point, these are just the first signals of a trend that will become prominent in the next 10 years. COVID has accelerated the use of digital among all age groups, and I think there starts to be B2B services in the metaverse. If I think about, for example, remortgaging a house, or just engaging on something on a B2B environment, rather than doing it on Zoom or Teams, actually having that experience in a virtual environment with more of a human element to it would probably be more of an incentive to do it online compared to walking into a branch or having to spend my day on commuting and doing that thing. So I think actually it could be used through to make functional activities on a day-to-day life much more engaging, but obviously it will come with its own challenges, and it's about the boundaries that people will want to have on it. Do you want to spend your day into a virtual reality doing this? At the same time, if someone had asked us 3 years ago, would you spend your days in virtual meetings to connect and engage for work? Everyone will say no, but it's through the efficiency and the balance, the work-life balance that we get by doing this online now can't be underestimated anymore. So as I said, it's a trend that scares me and excites me at the same time, and I think is one to watch.
Absolutely, very well said. I can understand when you're saying it's doing it in virtual as in person. It's still a mindset, I think, that people are still adapting to do virtual meetings. once you get into it, then I think the customer appreciates that you're actually taking the time to speak to them one-on-one, and it's a quality conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Giulia, for spending the time with us today and sharing your valuable insights, and I hope to see you soon.